Hi, my name is Jen with Jen Vasquez Photography, and I help the adventurous, fun, and playful party bride capture the life of her wedding while she celebrates the wedding of her life. I know that planning a wedding can be like a full-time job, and picking vendors is super hard, so that's why I have this channel. And if you like any of the content that you see around here, or if you get any kind of help at all, if you would just click that little thumbs up button, I would really appreciate it. If you want to be notified every time that I make a new recording that goes live onto YouTube, go ahead and just hit that subscribe button and you'll be notified as soon as a video goes live. Today, we're going to go over all of those tips that brides I've worked with over the past 10 years, as well as my adult children, wish that they knew when planning their wedding. Things to avoid, things to look out for, things that they wish they did. And every time someone came to me and said that, I put it in the notes section of my cell phone, and I ran across it the other day and I was like, oh my gosh, this would totally help all the brides out there that are planning their wedding so that they don't go crazy. Plus, at the end, I'm going to give you 2 bonus tips, and those are the tips that I give every single bride I work with. None of these tips are in any particular order because I just wanted to get it out to you, so bear with me. My first tip is adding a cushion to your timeline. You will go off your timeline. Nobody has ever stuck to a timeline in the 10 years that I've been a wedding photographer. My children didn't, and I am a wedding photographer. So you're always going to go off and you'll never know why. Someone maybe has to pee, someone going through the catering line to get food will take longer than it's supposed to for 150 people. Mom might be late to the wedding. Biggest problem, makeup and hair maybe goes off. All kinds of reasons. Adding 5 or 15 minutes to every single timeline, 5 or 15 minutes longer than you think you're going to need. I always say add 15 minutes to portrait time for like the bride and groom and that kind of thing. For guest seating, add 5 to 15 minutes. Making the entrance to the wedding, add 5 more minutes than you think. When they're doing first dances are typically 3 minutes, but it takes time for the DJ to introduce you, takes time to maybe start the song, then you're dancing, then you're gonna walk off, so that 3 minutes turns into more. Just put a cushion, just add a little bit of time to everything that you have on your timeline, then you're gonna be great. Second tip is RSVPs. Nobody tells you that people are horrible at sending back RSVPs. Horrible. I don't know any bride that hasn't had to call more than 10 or 20 people to ask if they're coming to the wedding. Not fun, not exciting. One way to maybe avoid that is to use like Zola is a fantastic, and I'm not being paid by Zola, but Zola is a fantastic online help for brides. They have free wedding websites and they can actually take RSVPs. It's a newfangled thing, but you can save money on those little cards that you have to also put stamps on to mail back. Just consider it because people are horrible at RSVPs. Wedding only email. This is a big one. Brides wish that they got a wedding only email like Jen and Justin 2019 or Jen and Justin wedding at gmail.com. Create an email just for weddings. So, because all the important stuff is in there, contracts, payments, timeline. This way you can just go to that email address to get all of your information. Use an online wedding company like Zola, Wedding Wire, or The Knot. The reason why I like Zola, again, I'm not getting money from them, although they can contact me. The reason why I like them the most is because not only do they have the free wedding website, not only do they take RSVPs online, which is fabulous, but you can create your registry on there. And it's not just registry like Target or Nordstrom's or wherever your Macy's, whatever you're doing and wherever you're registering, but you can do a registry for items that are not on Zola. So you could also do money registrations. So like some people say airline tickets for their honeymoon, or they can say dining room table and people can just donate money. And then in that money section, you'll wait for a sale and then go buy the table that you want. Something like that. It's really cool. It helps to get you really organized. Number 5, take your sample invitation, to the post office and have them weigh it. I have had time and time again, I've had a bride say that they needed 2 stamps, not just because it was oversized, but they had so much of that tissue paper and the envelopes, directions, like whatever. They had so much that they were literally like a couple ounces over. And they would have maybe decided not to purchase that cute tissue paper if they had known it was going to put them over and make it 2 stamps. Definitely try that. Tip number 6, people bringing a +1. It's a dirty little secret, but you can write on the invitation, Susie Jones, and on the inside of the invitation, Susie Jones. But if you don't have on your RSVP, like automatically a 1, yes or no, they'll bring people. And if you're okay with that, cool. But a lot of times weddings, especially the food, is priced per person, and your per person price can get like $150 sometimes, or of course more than that, but on average it could be a lot. Having your RSVPs very specific to how many people that means will give a good indication, but even still, just know that people are going to bring a +1. Some of my brides will set up a whole additional table and will have that table for the people that come that weren't invited. I don't know how to say that nice. Plan for an extra table just in case. Number 7 is good. It is to give your phone to your maid of honor or your wedding planner, or turn it off on the morning of your wedding, because people are going to have all kinds of crazy questions. Aunt Sylvia is going to say, is it the first exit or the second exit to come to the wedding? People are going to ask all these crazy questions, but if you have a day of wedding planner, they can handle all that for you. That's what they're there for. Number 8, don't buy anything at all till you finalize what your wedding is going to be like. So people get engaged and they get all excited and they see something at Macy's, like maybe something that's going to be part of the centerpiece, and then they buy a bunch of them. I can't tell you how many brides have leftover stuff, because when they finally nailed down what their design and colors and all of that stuff was going to be, they had this extra stuff that they bought right when they got engaged. So don't buy anything until you're very sure exactly what your wedding is going to look like. Number 9, ask your vendors, because they're experts. They're literally experts. Day in, day out, all they do all the time are weddings. So ask them, what are the 2 things that most brides don't think about? And so if you're talking to a caterer, what are 2 things that a bride should know when hiring a caterer? You'd be surprised what they tell you. They're going to tell you the thing that everyone doesn't think about. If you ask every single expert that, you're going to get a lot of information and a lot of help. Number 10, this has to do with your fiance, the love of your life, the person that you're choosing as your partner for life. Sometimes your fiance won't care as much as you do about the planning of this wedding, and that's just the way it is. My advice is to get with your fiance and find out what he is very interested in doing. For instance, my husband was very into picking DJ, and he was very interested in picking what he was going to wear, what everyone was going to wear from his wedding party. Find out what your fiance is into, or what he would appreciate, or what he's going to want to have input on, and have that be his job. That's a way to get him involved without having him come back and suddenly have a lot of input on things that you already know what you want. Number 11 probably should have been number 1. I highly, highly advise, if you can fit it in your budget, and keep in mind that wedding planners also save you money. They do cost money, but they save you money in helping you to identify vendors that are within your budget. But if you can't afford a wedding planner, or you really want to do it yourself, I still advise to have a month of wedding planner. This is a person that's going to let you, after you're done with planning a wedding, be done. And then they're going to take it from there and make sure things are going the way that you want them to go, making sure things are done the way you want them to be done, telling you on the day of where to go, when to be somewhere, you're running late, do this, do that, so that you get all of those wedding images that you want. And you don't have to be behind and you don't have to miss certain things. If you can't afford a day of wedding planner, that's totally okay. Pick a friend. Do not pick a person who is in your wedding party. They are not going to be good at keeping you on time. Pick someone extremely organized and who does not panic and who is super calm, cool, and collected, who can be a little firm if they need to be with vendors or guests or whatever. You trust them implicitly to make decisions for you without coming to you. So that would narrow down who that person would be. I have had a lot of brides who has an aunt, offered to help, and it turned into be really, really bad on the wedding day. And she wishes she didn't do that because she wanted her aunt to enjoy the wedding, and she ended up having to be interrupted and make decisions on the wedding day anyway. So you want to make sure you pick the right person. This is a great option for someone if you're having a certain number in your wedding party, but you have a dear friend and you want them to do something special. This is work, but it is the most important thing that you could really use help on the day of the weddings. That's a really important one. Number 12, please have your mom leave the room if she's watching this video with you right now. I'm just kidding, kind of. This wedding is your wedding. It doesn't matter if mom's paying for it. It doesn't matter if your best friend has opinions or your aunt, poor aunts, your aunt has an opinion. It doesn't matter what's going on or how much people are helping you. Ultimately, this is your wedding. This is your and your fiance's wedding. And when everything is said and done, it's your memories of your day that you got married to your best friend. Get input. It is really important to get input, because if you're open to input, you're going to hear things that you don't know about, but that these people do know about because they've been married before. Get input, solicit him. And I would always say, I would love to get your input. John and I are going to ultimately make the decision, and it may not be, of course, what you advise us, but I do want to get your input, and it is valuable to me. Gather input, sit down and make a decision, and know that there might be some hurt feelings right now, or there might be some people that have some ruffled feathers, but ultimately you'll end up with the wedding that you truly want. Number 13 is have snacks for the getting ready time period. Have, obviously depending on your dietary needs, but some nuts, some fruit, some crackers, some gum, some mints, toast, whatever you think you're going to be able to get down, even if you're nervous. And even if you're nervous, it makes you not hungry or a little nauseous. Chew some mint gum so that you can get that nauseousness gone, and then have a couple crackers, have something, because you will probably have some alcohol. You definitely don't want to be drinking on an empty stomach. And the thing I hear the most from brides is that they were hungry before dinner, and there's all these things to do, and they were hungry because they didn't eat because they were nervous in the mornings. Definitely have some munchies, if you will. Don't have a lot of junk food because that will make your stomach upset. Have some things that are going to fill you up a little bit and make it so your stomach's not empty and acidic. Number 14, walking down the aisle. Take a moment when you're walking down the aisle to look around at people and take it all in. A good piece of advice is to ask your dad or whoever is walking you down the aisle to be your patrol to keep it slow. And he's hanging onto your arm, or you're hanging onto his arm, so he can pull you back a little bit if you start speeding down the aisle. A lot of people go down the aisle fast. And instead, as you first start walking down the aisle, look at everybody. Look at your bridal party up there, all as you had envisioned. Look to the left, look to the right, take in all of your family and friends and the looks on their faces. And then when you get halfway down the aisle, zero in on your fiance and look at him the rest of the way walking down the aisle. Looking left and right are a way to make a memory, and you're going to have pictures from your photographer, but from your vantage point, with all those faces looking at you with love and excitement and expectation, take it in. Otherwise, you end up sort of running down that aisle to get there and marry your guys. Definitely take your time when you're walking down the aisle. Number 15 is something that helps me as a photographer, and it also helps to ensure that brides have all the groups of pictures and that they get as many pictures as they want. So I don't know about most photographers, but I do create a timeline, and I have a questionnaire that I send out to my bride and groom about 3 months before the wedding that asks the details like what time is reception, what time is the ceremony, all those kinds of things. And in that, I do ask beyond the typical bride's mom and dad with bride and groom, groom's mom and dad with bride and groom, those types of combinations I have on there to click them if that's what you'd like. And then any groupings beyond that to list every single name of the person in that grouping and each grouping, because each group of people takes between 3 and 5 minutes to photograph. That means calling the name out, getting the people there, lining them up and posing them so that I can see all their faces, asking them to take off sunglasses, asking them to take off hats, all that stuff, and getting people together and posed takes time. I always advise to have one person from the bride's family and one person from the groom's family to call out and find, if needed, from the bar, all of these people that may have wandered off and to get them there and ready and waiting to go and take their picture. And that can also be your wedding planner. But if you have one person on your bride side and one person on the groom side, the wedding planner does not know all these people on site. And so if you have a person appointed to do that, even if the photographer or the wedding planner is going to call out the names of the group, at least you have that family member that's going to go and get them, like I said, from the bar or cocktail hour or wherever they are. That has always been super helpful. Number 16 is to go away from the altar area, go to a separate area to take your bride and groom portraits. And the reason why this is helpful is that you are having some one-on-one time with your fiance, your now husband, immediately after the ceremony without everybody coming up to you and saying congratulations, which is so sweet and so lovely. But it does take time away from photographing, getting it done, and getting you to cocktail hour as soon as possible. And it also doesn't give you those few moments right after you say I do to just like look at each other and take each other in. So going away from where everyone else is sometimes can be really helpful. Number 17 is to purchase inexpensive flip-flops and have them all in a basket so that your guests, most of the time ladies, who are in those heels that look so good but feel so awful by that point in the night when there's dancing, that they can take their shoes off and have, not be barefoot if they chose. A lot of my brides have done this, little baskets with the flip-flops, and guests love it. That is like the highlight that I always hear from guests. Isn't this so cute? Take a picture of my flip-flops. Something that my brides have done, and they really liked it, and so did the guests. Number 18, do not change your hair length, your skincare routine, or your hair color 2 months before the wedding. This is advice especially from past brides who got their hair cut by someone they didn't know or someone they knew, and they took off more inches than they wanted to in the hairstyle that they were planning for their wedding, or doing a hair color that was a new hair color that didn't turn out exactly what they wanted. And the stress, yes, you can get it fixed, except with the skincare routine. If you go for a bunch of facials and things 2 months before the wedding, all that stuff is going to be coming up from your skin, and you will probably end up with some blemishes on the wedding day. So 2 months before your wedding, don't change anything about your appearance in order to really look as beautiful as possible on your wedding day. And number 19 is while you're engaged, watch what you eat and drink. And that's like not overindulging in alcohol, which can ruin your skin tone and look and feel. Eating, sometimes we get very stressful. I myself gained some weight while I was wedding planning and then had my dress literally taken out. And then from the stress, lost the weight again. And 3 days before my wedding, had to have it taken in again. Total waste of money. So be thoughtful about what you eat and drink during your wedding planning process. And a tip that all of my brides have said is to take multivitamins, in particular B12 and vitamin D, because those help with stress. Number 20 is a tip I got from a wedding planner, and it is brilliant, and I wish that I knew it when my adult children got married. My teenage children right now, they will know this tip, and this is something they will do. Apply for a credit card the minute that you get engaged that has miles on it, and then put all of your wedding expenses, all of it, including the venue, etc., on this credit card. Pay it off. Even if you have money from family members, put it on the credit card and then pay it off, because you'll get miles, and you can use those miles either for hotels or for airfare for your honeymoon. It's like one of the best advice that I have heard in the last year that I never had heard before. It's kind of a new one. And obviously you want to be super thoughtful with credit cards and super thoughtful with credit and all that kind of stuff. But if you have no problems with your credit, open a separate credit card for your wedding, earn those miles. Once you utilize all those miles, then you can close the credit card and be done. So this one is tip number 21, and I thought it was kind of interesting. So we have all gone pretty electronic these days, and a lot of my brides have been doing email save the dates to save on paper and to save on stamps. So it saves money, saves the environment. But the cool thing is, in this email save the date, you can ask for everyone to email you back with their current address. Brilliant. Because I don't know about you, but when I went to get married, when my adult children went to get married, there was so many people had to call and verify addresses because they had moved. We got so many of the invitations, I think it was like 10, back in the mail because it was the wrong address, but that's the address I've had for them, and I didn't even know that they moved. It's a creative way to save the environment, save money, save paper, also be able to get all of those addresses for wedding invitations. And my last tip before my 2 bonus tips, the last tip, number 22, is to have an unplugged ceremony. So an unplugged ceremony or unplugged wedding is one in which you invite your guests to not use a cell phone. A lot of my brides wish that they did this after they got married, because in all of my images, as I'm photographing from the end of the aisle, I can't tell you how many of, I'm going to say Uncle Bob or Aunt Sarah is holding up a huge iPad in the middle of the aisle, not to mention all of the hands with the cell phones that are up in the air taking pictures at the ceremony. My brides get so frustrated because they're like, oh my God, this is the most beautiful photograph. I wish I had it without all those cell phones. I can't go in and Photoshop out every cell phone and a huge iPad. That's not going to happen. That's something that's pretty interesting. You need to be thoughtful about how you go about it. I've had some people put an unplugged ceremony so that you can enjoy the moment with us while our photographer is recording it. I've had people have a sign that says the same thing. Please enjoy this moment with us. We want to make sure that we have nobody using cell phones so that you're with us for every vow and every promise that we make at the altar. Don't worry, our photographers, recording all of the details. Definitely want to let guests know ahead of time. Guests can sometimes get a little upset if they come and then are told they can't use their cell phone. I personally have no problem doing that, because even though I'm a photographer, I like to sit in and actually enjoy a ceremony because I'm usually photographing it. So now for my bonus tips. I advise all of my clients and my adult children and every single person, let's just throw it out there. I literally always tell everybody this. At the end of the day, the cake could fall, The dress cannot fit. Any horror story that you're making up in your head during your wedding planning, it can happen. But you're marrying your best friend. This is literally the day that you are saying yes for the rest of your life to be with the person that you love and is your best friend. So none of that matters. None of it. And the fact is, something will go wrong on your wedding day. Every wedding, no matter how perfect, there has always been something that goes wrong. But you're getting married to your best friend, and that's all that matters. So knowing that going into the wedding sometimes makes it a little easier when things kind of go awry. My second tip, bonus tip, is to have someone in your wedding party or who's going to be with you all day long to tap you on the shoulder every single hour of the whole day. And when she taps you on the shoulder, you take a second and you look around the room. Look around the room or wherever you are, see what's going on, who's talking to people, what people are talking about. Take in that moment. Then you're guaranteed to have 8 to 12 moments that you'll remember throughout the day, besides that walking down the aisle moment, right? Every bride that actually followed the advice that I've given them said, the day flew by, and if I didn't stop every hour for those few moments, I don't know that I would remember anything from my wedding. Hopefully it helps you too. Have a great day. If you like this information, definitely hit that thumbs up button. And if you want to know when the next video releases, go ahead and click that subscribe button now. Have a great day. Bye, guys.